Your dad worked at an office. Regular job, nothing special. Made maybe $50,000 in today's money. Your mom stayed home with you and your siblings. They owned a 3-bedroom house in a decent neighborhood. 2 cars. Family vacation every summer. You went to public school. Dad had a pension. Healthcare through work covered everything. Nobody was rich. But nobody was stressed about money either. That was just middle class, normal, the default American life. Now look at you. You have a college degree your dad didn't need. You and your spouse both work full time. You make $140,000 combined, more than double what your dad made alone. You can't afford the house you grew up in. You're drowning in debts your parents never had. You can't imagine having 3 kids. 1 maybe if you're lucky. Retirement? You'll probably work until you die. You can't even imagine it in your head. You're doing everything right, and you're worse off than your parents were, with half the security and twice the stress. So how did we get here? That's what this channel breaks down. Hit subscribe. How did the middle class go from comfortable to completely broke while making more money than ever? Let's define what middle class used to mean. The 1970s through the 1990s. Middle class meant 1 income supports a family, you own a home, kids go to decent public schools, you take a vacation most years, you have savings, healthcare is covered, retirement is a real thing you'll actually do. That was the deal. Work a regular job, get a middle class life. Not rich, not poor, comfortable, secure. That deal is dead. Housing killed it first. This is the big one. In 1970, the median home price was about 2.2 times the median household income. If you made $10,000 a year, houses cost $22,000. Reasonable, achievable. By 2020, the median home price was 8 times the median income. If you make $60,000, houses cost $480,000. That's not inflation. That's not market forces. That's a fundamental break in the relationship between earnings and housing costs. Your parents bought their first house in their 20s, saved for a couple years, got a modest down payment, bought a starter home, paid it off in their 40s. You're in your 30s, still renting, trying to save a down payment that grows faster than you can save. If you do buy, you'll be paying that mortgage into your 60s. And don't let anyone tell you it's because houses are bigger now. They are, slightly. But that doesn't explain an 8 times multiplier. What happened is housing became an investment vehicle instead of a place to live. People bought second homes, third homes, investment properties. Foreign investors parked money in real estate. Private equity firms bought entire neighborhoods. Supply couldn't keep up with demand from people treating housing like stocks. So prices exploded. And now an entire generation is locked out of the foundational element of middle class life. Education costs went completely insane. Another pillar destroyed. In 1980, a year of college at a public university cost about $3,100 in today's dollars. You could work a summer job and cover most of it. By 2020, $10,560 per year for public school. Private universities are $37,000. That's not inflation. Tuition increased 180% above inflation over 40 years. Your parents graduated with no debt, or maybe $5,000 total. Paid it off in a couple years, no big deal. You graduated with $30,000 in debt. Your spouse has $40,000. You're paying $500 to $800 a month for degrees that were supposed to guarantee middle-class life. You'll be paying until you're 40, and you had to get those degrees because the jobs your parents got with high school diplomas now require bachelor's degrees. The bar moved, but the pay didn't. So you're paying more for education that's now mandatory just to access the same jobs. And if you're making good money but still living paycheck to paycheck because housing and student loans eat everything, hit that like button. It tells me this reality is hitting home. The middle class income doesn't buy a middle class life anymore. Healthcare costs exploded. Used to be part of the deal. Now it's bankrupting people. Your dad's employer provided health insurance covered everything. Maybe a $10 copay. Deductible? What's that? Now you're paying $400 plus a month in premiums, plus a $5,000 deductible, plus 20% coinsurance after that, plus copays, plus medications. You're paying thousands per year before insurance even starts covering things. And you're still afraid to actually use it because bills could destroy you. One medical emergency can wipe out years of savings. Having a baby costs $10,000 plus after insurance. Cancer? Bankruptcy. This isn't middle class. This is one disaster away from financial ruin. Childcare became prohibitively expensive, the final nail. Used to be one parent stayed home, or grandparents helped, or childcare was affordable enough that working made sense. Now, childcare costs $15,000 to $20,000 per year per child for one kid. Infant care in cities? $30,000. That's more than college tuition for daycare. So you're paying college-level costs just to be allowed to work. One parent's entire salary goes to childcare. You're working to afford to work. Many families decided it's not worth it. One parent stays home, which means back to single income, except now everything costs 4 times more than when single incomes were normal. You literally cannot win. The two-income trap closed. This is the killer. When women entered the workforce in the 1970s, 80s, household incomes should have roughly doubled, right? 2 workers instead of 1. And they did. For a minute. Then the market adjusted. Housing prices rose because families could afford more. Costs increased across the board. Dual incomes became the expectation. Now you need 2 incomes to afford what 1 income used to buy. But you also need to pay for childcare, second car, work clothes, convenience food, because nobody's home to cook. The extra income gets eaten by the costs of earning that income. You're running in place. And if one person loses their job or gets sick, disaster. There's no buffer. The safety net your parents had, 1 income with 1 backup, is gone. Wages stagnated while everything else inflated. The core problem. Adjusted for inflation, wages have been basically flat since the 1970s. Productivity increased. Company products increased. Executive pay increased 940%. Worker pay? Flat. You're producing more value per hour than your parents did. The companies are making more money than ever. That money is going somewhere, just not to you. So you're working harder, producing more, and taking home the same real wages while everything costs 3 to 8 times more. The math doesn't work, obviously. Debt became mandatory for middle-class life. The final surrender. Your parents bought things when they could afford them, saved up, paid cash, maybe had a mortgage and 1 car payment. You? Student loans, car payments, credit card debt, medical debt. The middle-class lifestyle now requires permanent debt. You're not living beyond your means, you're going into debt for normal life. Education, transportation, healthcare, housing, basic necessities now require financing. The middle class went from we own things to we owe for things. Retirement became a fantasy, the promise broken. Your dad had a pension, worked 30 years, retired at 60, got a monthly check for life, plus Social Security, plus Medicare at 65. You have a 401k that lost 40% in 2008, recovered, then crashed again. You're supposed to contribute 15% of your income, but you can't because you're paying student loans and childcare. Social Security probably won't exist in its current form when you retire. Medicare eligibility will probably be 70 by then, if it exists. You'll probably work until 70, maybe longer. Retirement isn't a phase of life anymore. It's for rich people. The lifestyle extras disappeared entirely. This is the subtle part people miss. Your parents had hobbies, took music lessons, joined clubs, went out to dinner regularly, took weekend trips, had fun money. You? Every dollar is allocated. Groceries, rent, loans, insurance, childcare. There's nothing left for hobbies, for fun, for life. You're making more money than your parents and living a more austere lifestyle because the fundamentals, housing, education, healthcare, ate everything. The psychology broke too. You're told you're middle class. You make good money. You should be comfortable, but you're not. You're stressed constantly. One unexpected expense breaks you. You can't afford to have kids, can't buy a house, can't save, can't rest. But the label says middle class, so you must be doing something wrong, right? Maybe you're bad with money. Maybe you're not working hard enough. Maybe you need to budget better. It's gaslighting on a societal level. You're not failing. The system failed. Middle class used to mean security. Now it means two incomes barely covering what one used to, with no savings, no safety net, and no hope of the life your parents had. The American dream didn't die. It was sold off piece by piece. Housing to investors, education to loan companies, healthcare to insurance companies, retirement to Wall Street. And you're left holding the bill for a lifestyle you can't afford with wages that don't cover it. So, how did we get here? Housing became an investment commodity instead of a basic need, pricing out buyers. Education costs exploded 180% above inflation while becoming mandatory. Healthcare went from covered to catastrophic expense. Childcare became prohibitively expensive. Two incomes became necessary but not sufficient. Wages stagnated while productivity and profits soared. Debt became mandatory for normal life. Retirement plans shifted risk from employers to workers. Every safety net was removed. And we're still calling it middle class while living a working class existence with white-collar anxiety. The middle class isn't struggling. It barely exists. It's a label we keep using for a lifestyle that's no longer achievable. Maybe the real question isn't how we got here. It's whether middle class even means anything anymore. If you're making more money than your parents, but living worse than they did, hit that subscribe and like button. We're documenting every broken promise and stolen dream that happened so gradually, nobody fought back. And the death of the middle class might be the biggest one yet.